everybody. You can see here the possession was pretty equal, 52% for Bayern Munich, 48% for Arsenal. You can really see the difference in shots. Bayern getting 10, Arsenal getting 15, which was quite surprising considering Bayern were able to get the win. And the winner, sorry girls, I got a bit confused.
You got it.
The girl who scored the 86th-minute winner for Bayern Munich was Glodis Viggosdottir, and we got to speak to her just after the game, so let's take a listen.
Hey Glody, it's Allie, and I'm so proud of you. It was such a thrill to watch you.
Allie.
Hi. Oh my gosh, I've known you for so many years, and you've just grown up in front of my eyes, and it could
Since I was a little baby.
Yes, you were, and it could not have been anyone, because you were the person back in Sweden for FC Rosengård that we would put up at the end of games to try to get us a goal. I know this was a different situation because it was a set piece, but during that first half, you are wearing the captain's armband. You are a leader. You're a great communicator. How are you keeping your teammates kind of afloat to not get disheartened by what was happening, the struggle with the build, with their press? Because I can see you trying to connect, and you don't want to wait until halftime to get the message. Obviously, you shifted momentum later in the game, but as a captain, as someone who loves to connect and drive her teammates forward, what was the messaging going on out there?
We were really just trying to find solutions, trying to, like you say, stay connected, and we have our ways of doing that with small gestures, small high fives, eye contact. So it's just about not, like you say, basically not falling apart, because it felt a little bit like nothing that we did was working. So yeah, it was just about not losing the connection that we had in the team. And I think after we conceded the 2 goals, it was not great, but it was a little bit more closed maybe. And yeah, then the tactical thing sometimes is difficult on the pitch, like, you know, to see the whole picture, to know and see where the spaces are, because you get a little bit closed off sometimes, especially when it's stressful and you're being pressed in a good way like Arsenal was doing. So yeah, for us it was more about keeping the connection during the first half, and then we knew at halftime we would have time to sit down, see the pictures on the screen again, and find actual solutions with the ball. I think that was for us a complete game changer. And as well, like I said, the subs and how we're able to use our whole squad is a big strength, and was a big strength today.
Bayern Munich sit in 6th place, just outside the automatic promotion spots. They lost against Barcelona in match day 1, but since then they've had 7 wins in a row. They're on absolutely flying form at the moment. And after the match, we got to speak to Georgia Stanway, one of Bayern's key players. So here's what she had to say. Well, Georgia, a great win for you and the Bayern Munich girls. Talk to us about that momentum shift in that second half. What was kind of said in the locker room, because whatever was said clearly worked?
Thank you very much. Yeah, if I'm being totally honest, we always struggle in this stadium in the first half. I'm not sure if it's nerves, I'm not sure if it's, being in an abnormal stadium that we're not used to. But yeah, we came in at second half, we looked at some pictures, and from that moment we were able to dominate the game a little bit more, deal with the overloads, and that's when we were able to be more aggressive.
Georgia, did you have belief the entire time, or was it after getting that first goal that you felt you were back in it? Was it the second goal? When did you have this sudden confidence? Because we could see the shift. You could almost feel it from very far away.
I'd definitely say the first goal. I think coming out at half-time, we knew that it was going to be a completely different second half if we did and we executed exactly what we'd just talked about. But yeah, as soon as we got the first goal, we pushed. We were super aggressive both in and out of possession. We made sure that we were tight on the ball, and I feel like the game just completely opened up and was a very, very different game.
Georgia, I felt like when Pernille checked into the game, that was the moment everything changed. Can you give any insight as to why she didn't start?
I don't actually know how much I'm allowed to say, but she wasn't so good yesterday. She was feeling a little bit under the weather. But yeah, you can see the exact quality that she brings when she comes on the pitch. And yeah, whether it was a goal off the shin pad, it's a goal in the top corner, so we take it.
Georgia, we saw a different side of Bayern in the second half. How do you prepare going into the next match day, knowing that you were able to beat Arsenal 3-2?
Nothing changes from us, and we'll continue to do exactly what we do on a daily basis. I think today was just a massive show of character, a massive show of who we are as a team and the strengths that we can go to when we are 2-0 behind. But yeah, nothing changes from our way. We continue the way that we want to play football, and yeah, hopefully we can continue.
Jen, you just joined us. Have you got a question for Georgia?
I thought I'd push in a chair. I can see Stanner's smile already. Hi, Georgia. How you doing? Any more tattoos? I want to ask you about your tattoos.
I'm waiting for your text to come through.
For some insight, yeah. Thank you for that on Wolfsburg yesterday. I won't call you out on the details you gave me, mate. Are we getting like a 3-2 tattoo
No problem.
for tonight to showcase the occasion? What a night for you and the team. How's the tattooing going? That's what I'm most interested in, to be honest.
I'm waiting for you to come to Munich, and then you can be on the hit list.
Oh, right. Well, to be fair, we are going to London, guys. Maybe Munich
it's nearby.
can be the next stop.
I
can make a little.
I don't have any tattoos, so
Kelly O'Hara's
Kelly's
first
first
tattoo.
tattoo.
There we go.
I mean, if I'm going to get any, it's going to be from her.
There you go, G. Would you be the first person to tattoo Kelly
The
O'Hara?
studio's open for you all.
Yes.
I'm down for that for sure.
Good.
Georgia, I think we wanted to kind of know how you were feeling before the game, because you were obviously going to come up against so many England teammates in the Arsenal squad. What was that whole experience like for you? Was there some like trash talking on the pitch, or were you kind of civil with that?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. We have so much respect for Arsenal and everything that they've gone on to achieve. I think it's just nice to see my teammates. Yeah, it's nice to just see them face to face. But no, definitely no talking.
Well, that's nice, because when I asked Kelly and Ali, they said, yeah, definitely. When we played against old teammates, would that be the first thing we'd be doing?
Kelly trash talked in my life.
Georgia, I got to know, you said that playing in this stadium, maybe you guys were a little bit uncomfortable. It's not as known to you, but I felt like the fans were behind y'all and just were going crazy as you continued to put the ball in the back of the net. Was that a big support for you as the game went on?
Yeah, definitely. The reason I say that in the first place, and the reason that I say that we are a little bit nervous when we do come here, is because we do want to give the fans a good experience, and we want to be able to play at this stadium more and more, so that we play attractive football, so that fans want to come and watch us. So yeah, the pressure builds up and the emotions are there, and it's about how we manage them, and we continue to play the football that we want to play. I think, yeah, the fans were definitely behind us. You could hear them, the first goal, second goal, third goal, and then every single defensive action. Yeah, they were definitely the 12th player on the pitch today.
Lovely stuff. Congratulations on the win, Georgia.
Congrats. Well done, Georgia.
Congrats, Georgia.
Thank you so much.
Foxy, it's Kelly. I'm sorry about the result today. I thought you played fantastic. You were fantastic on both sides of the ball. Where do you guys go from here as a team? You said you have a lot of fixtures coming up, but just talk us through what you guys do after this result.
Yeah, honestly, we're extremely disappointed. I thought we had a great first half, and then, 60 minutes in, I think the momentum changed for us, and they had the momentum, and they capitalized on it with the 3 goals. So I think for us, a lot of lessons. And again, we have 2 more games before the break against top opponents. So we have to learn from this and bounce back quickly. But it's really nothing new in the sense of how the season is with Champions League, WSL, and just kind of all the fixtures we have.
Emily, you just said it yourself right now. It's nothing new. What do you think your team is missing? What's the secret ingredient to help you guys stay on top?
I mean, today I think, with the goals, it's being able to keep the lead and keep our momentum. And I think it's a whole collective in the sense of how can we, prevent the counters, prevent the second balls. I felt like they changed up their game plan second half. So really, how could we adapt to that? I think we struggled a bit adapting to them changing their play. So I think we'll, again, reflect, head back home, and focus on the next game.
Foxy, just want to say thank you for joining us today. I know it was a tough result, but we hope good things in the future for y'all.
All right, thank you.
Okay, taking a look now at Arsenal's league phase results. They obviously lost to Lyon 2-1 matchday 2, won at Benfica and lost today against Bayern. They've got Real Madrid, Twente and Leuven coming up. So when you look at those fixtures, maybe the easiest of fixtures that they've had compared to Lyon and Bayern. But looking at their performance today, Jen, they were 2-0 up. And Emily Fox there, you could see she was visibly disappointed with the loss, understandably. You're 2-0 up and then you let it go to 3-2. It was a tale of two halves, like everyone's been saying. What went wrong for them in that second half, Jen?
Yeah, I mean, I love the honesty, first and foremost.
Yeah, I know.
Emily Fox
coming
out and saying,
being able to even do that interview.
Right.
You know?
And I think for her, look, you could kind of see the disappointment when your opposition, on your side specifically, Clara Bill gets 3 assists. I think that kind of added to the disappointment. But I think she's spot on, and I think that's where her experience still at a young age shines through, that you can still, in those emotional phases, doing interviews, still say, we didn't adapt. Because for me, that is spot on what happened. I think Pernilla Harder came off the bench, changed the game, they pressed higher up the pitch, they were playing longer balls in behind, they didn't drop quick enough. It was pretty clear that Bayern Munich changed the way they played and Arsenal can adapt. So I massively respect their honesty, but for me, you have to look at how do you not let that happen again? You're playing away from home. You know Bayern Munich have a great home record. They were going to always change things at half-time when you're up 2-0 and absolutely cruising. So I think that's where you're missing the experience in the game. I have to say it. Kim Little being injured, Leah Williamson out injured, that's the kind of experience you need on the pitch in those moments to even just get the group together. After you conceded 1 or 2, it can't get any more than that. After the first goal, you needed to rally the team and be like, right, what can we do differently here because it's not quite working. They came out in 46 minutes and changed the game, Bayern Munich.
I'm concerned about where they go from here because yes, those might be easier fixtures to finish off the initial match days, but if you're not getting confidence from your domestic games, and that's not a guarantee right now for their form, how do you bring that into Champions League or vice versa? But if this Arsenal team, as the title holders, do not finish at least higher in that playoff tier, it's a catastrophe. I have to say it.
So you think even if they finish from 5th to the end of the playoff spots, it matters if they compare to 5th to 13th?
I think so, going into the playoffs, because again,
just so it's momentum and confidence.
Yeah, and there's no guarantee when those matchups get made from the playoffs in the tiers that they have an easy route to get back into it. So I just think that this was a shocking day, and I mean, bless Emily. It's not going to be tough, that journey home.
Yeah, no, understandably, she seemed pretty down, but I mean, we've been in a position before when you've lost a game, and the last thing you want to do is speak to the media, but props to her for talking to us. Looking now, they've had 7 wins in a row since their Barcelona loss, Kelly. What do they need to do now moving forward? I mean, they've got PSG, Atleti and Valerenga, who arguably are teams that aren't doing great at the moment.
Keep the train chugging and score as many goals as possible to make it for the 7-1 defeat against Barcelona. That's exactly
Keep the train chugging. That's the quote of the day.
Tracks.
The quote of the day.
Keep it chugging, you know, and keep doing what they're doing. They're fantastic. They suffered a big loss against Barcelona, 7-1. Oh, I don't want to say this, but embarrassing loss, right? That's the type of loss as a player. You go into the locker room afterwards and you're like, oh my God, who am I? What am I doing? I think so. So the fact that they were able to bounce back in this way in their domestic league, in Champions League, just shows that they can put this behind them, they can move on, and they're on the right track. And I think that we all were a bit concerned after that first big loss and concerned about the goal differential, but with the teams that they have ahead of them, if they get three wins and they score a bunch of goals, that win or that loss doesn't even really come into play.
I think it was quite interesting, well, for me to hear as well, when we spoke to Georgia. She said, we look nervous in the first half whenever we play at the Allianz Arena. They need to kind of get rid of those nerves, don't they?
Definitely.
Well, which is bizarre to me because they have such a good home record there. So I think they need to have more confidence in that. And I think, again, really honest for her to come and say that.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, they can look at review clips at halftime and go out and change the game and score 3 goals. The only thing I would add to Kelly is what they could do to keep going forward for me is have your best 11 players on the pitch. I don't think you can afford to have 30 minutes and then change a game when, you know, certain players come off the bench. It has to be from minute one. You can't afford to go 2 goals down every single time and then change a game.
Yeah, they just keep chugging.
Just keep chugging away
with your best players.
They've earned that confidence well. Coming down from 2-0 to win 3-2 is very, very impressive. You probably aren't the happiest with the Arsenal loss. You did predict that maybe Bayern would see this game out and win or potentially get a draw. What were your thoughts on the game and with your predictions, Anita?
Yeah, so I spoke to Renee, the Arsenal manager, and she said the cliche line that we've heard so many times, it was a game of 2 halves, because that first half for Arsenal couldn't have been more perfect, but they didn't score as many goals as they should have. I think they had 4 shots on target. Then you look at the second half, and it was just the management from the manager, the Bayern manager, in those changes he made. They were so instrumental, and I guess that is the edge between managers in this game. If you are able to have players who can come off the bench and affect a game the way they do, it was just shocking, because, you know, you see how they took the lead, or they equalised, they got the first goal rather, then equalised, and then what it was, I think 6 minutes later, then they made it 3-2, and of course the crowd here loved it. It was great to be in the Allianz Arena for a women's game, and the atmosphere was unstoppable. It was just the best for them. Obviously not the best for me, but it just feels like Arsenal might be in this little rough patch at the moment.
In the first half, was the crowd still as consistently behind the team, or did it just kind of go to a crescendo at the end of the second half? Because by the end, we could see just how thrilled everyone was. It was so loud. You could see them wanting to celebrate with the players. But what was it like in that first half when obviously it wasn't looking so good for Bayern?
I'd say they had their moments. I think, of course, Arsenal opened the scoring really early through Emily Fox. I think it was 5 minutes, forgive me if I'm wrong, but it was almost as if you could hear a pin drop in here, because they'd had that light show, as we saw, the drama came right before the start of the game, and then all of a sudden they were taken by surprise with that goal, and then, of course, Arsenal doubled their lead. They still were making their voices heard, but I would say it was nothing like what we saw in those final 10 minutes plus stoppage time.
Anita, Arsenal's had a roller coaster of performances, considering WSL combined with Champions League. I'm personally not shocked that they lost this way. I think the way they've been performing, it explains a lot. What do you think is missing? What's the secret ingredient for Arsenal? Who or what can turn things around for them?
I tried to put that question to Renee too, because they have, as I said, been through this difficult patch. You look at the game at the weekend, albeit, of course, Arsenal will feel aggrieved, as Arsenal fans have done, because the decisions made by the referees didn't go their way. But you think of a game like that, the way they performed, still not able to get over the line, irrespective of those decisions not going their way. Then you look at today starting so well. You just wonder if there is maybe a mentality thing there at the moment. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, and I asked Renee how she's dealing with it, and she said it's tough. She was very, very honest. She said it's tough at the moment. Of course, they've now got a big game in the WSL with the North London derby at the weekend, and if you're a Tottenham fan, you're going to think and hope your team can take advantage of an Arsenal team that just don't seem to click. So I'm sorry I don't have the exact answer for you, but we saw them have these difficulties last season, so there is hope there. You know, they didn't have the perfect start in the WSL. In fact, I think it was around this date last season where they were effectively out of the title race, and then all their efforts could turn to the Champions League, and they managed to do the unthinkable. So whilst it feels like, I'm not sure if it's a mentality thing, it could be at the moment, we have seen them come out of these kind of holes before. In fact, they're all just leaving as I'm talking to you now.
Anita, do you think maybe that mentality thing is the pressure of coming off being the only English team to have won the Champions League last year? We had big expectations of Arsenal going into this year's campaign, and they haven't delivered. Do you think that mentality is dealing with that pressure, and also the pressure that comes with the WSL, because those games are huge, as well as these Champions League nights?
I think Jen's probably best placed to answer that question because they know what the badge means. Arsenal's one of the most successful teams in England. Of course, they haven't been of late when it comes to the domestic league, but that is a team that changed the face of women's football in England. And as you rightly mentioned, they're the only team to have won the Champions League. Of course, last season was the second time they won it. So I'm not sure it's a case of the pressure. The players that wear that shirt know what the pressure is. It could just be that maybe they're not clicking. Of course, they've had additions to the squad, and that can take a time for that to adjust. So maybe Renee really needs to go back to the drawing board and think, how does she get the best out of certain players? I mentioned at the top of the show, I would have liked to have seen Chloe Kelly start. I'm not sure, maybe she needs to give other players a chance to try and prove themselves as well.